This meeting is being recorded.
How are you?
There we go. I'm good. Let me fix it. How are you?
Good.
Hi, Julie.
Yeah. Hi. We usually get to chat before we start.
How did Suspenders Unbuttoned come about? Podcast.
That's a long and interesting story. Are you going to start, Sarah?
Okay, you want me to start?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you want to know just about the podcast or kind of how it all began?
Up to you. Whatever you want to share.
Well, the long story short, we met in a fan Facebook group, and we kind of branched out a few of us, and we had a chat going where we were always chatting and talking all things. Then I randomly started as an Instagram account, which is now the Suspenders Unbuttoned account.
It wasn't really that random.
It wasn't, but it wasn't super planned either. Like we never had this planned. It kind of just happened. And then from there, we used to go live on our Instagram, and we used to just we talked about When Calls the Heart. We did some book clubs, nice. And people started saying you should start a podcast. And I would say,
that when we did those, it was our way to connect with people. Right. We had a lot of people on those lives. And for us, that was our base. Then it was the connection with people, and they could talk to us and we could talk to them, between messages. So that became our foundation. So keep going. We did some book clubs too.
We did some book clubs. We did a fundraiser. We really love to add the charity piece in wherever we can, because it's something that's important to both of us. And then from there, the podcast kind of evolved, and we use a platform that allows us to do it live. So everything is live. We never edit. And it's just allowed us to connect with people kind of on a bigger level. So it's still our main mission, right? Our mission is, that's the wrong word. Julie, jump in here.
Really, our goal is to continue to connect with people. But our name is Suspenders Unbuttoned because we came out of a fan group. And so our fan group base is a Kevin McGarry fan group. Right. And Suspenders and Unbuttoned came there. But we're a little unbuttoned in our conversation, and that we allow the conversation to flow. And we like hearing about all the pieces that bring them. So we want to hear about their projects, but we also want to hear about them as a person.
Absolutely.
And and we like all the pieces that bring these things here. So actors, but also those who are in support. We've had a wide range of people who are in support pieces, from drivers to directors, but other things. And we like hearing their story and how they got there. Other people involved. We had Gabrielle from Rama Drama on to hear her piece and how that connected. Just like we like connecting with you down in the media room at Rama Drama. We love those connections. So, and we're a little unbuttoned. We like to hear your story, and wherever that will take it. I think we get different things because we let the conversation flow.
Right.
Awesome. And, the question of the year: how does it feel to be podcasters in the digital age now, with technology, social media, and streaming being so prevalent?
Well, we don't know any different.
For us, it's a win-win because we just met. We've known each other for almost 2 years, but we just met the Thursday of Rama Drama. That was our first meeting. Sarah's in Rhode Island. I'm in Minnesota.
Yeah.
So we had never physically met.
What state, Julie? What state?
Minnesota.
Oh, and you're in?
Rhode Island.
I love Rhode Island.
All right, me too. Most of the time when you meet people, you say, where are you from? And you're like, Rhode Island, and they think it's Long Island. So I think that's funny. Yeah.
So
I love Rhode Island too.
So for us, it works because we wouldn't be able to do this without the digital age.
Right. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And it also shows that it's kind of proof that you can make connections digitally, right? Our world is so different than when I grew up. It wasn't until I was almost in college where we could start IMing each other with dial up. And so it's a different age, and it's really fun. It's really fun to get to know people this way. It also doesn't take us away from our real lives.
Right.
So
yeah.
very often
Family.
anyway.
Yeah,
right.
we have lots of commitments too. So between work, and she's homeschooling besides, and I work full time.
Yeah.
And it's just kind of crazy. Like, I worked until midnight last night, yet here I can talk to you because this is digital. So
right.
It allows us a platform to expand, and the getting to know each other, that it's fun that we got to know so many people who were at Rama Drama through our podcast before we got there. Right. And then we got there, and it's like Gabrielle, Andrew Walker, Wes Brown, like all
Neil
these people.
Bledsoe,
yeah, it was super fun. Yeah, Neil Bledsoe, Danica McKellar, it was like we already had this connection. We've already had conversations with them. So it was fun.
Accessibility is amazing these days. Accessibility, the reach, accessibility.
And so much accessibility from my spare bedroom.
I know, right? Or just from your phone. I think it's been really fun to connect with people you've never thought you could connect with, right? Like, you never thought I'd have access to talking to one of these stars, but really they're just doing the same thing. They're walking around in their real life, and they respond to your message, and you kind of make that one connection, and then you have a podcast, and you make a face-to-face connection, and then we can support each other. So it's a really neat community to be a part of.
Back in the day, the only way you saw what they were doing was back in tabloids. There was no social media.
Right.
That was sacred. Now it's more open.
Right. And they have a lot more control over it too, I think.
Right. The tabloids also gave such a weird point of view, and I still don't understand that point of view when we've had such a wonderful point of view this way. You are our first person we met in person and then talked to digitally.
Yeah, it's always reversed. Yeah.
Wow.
You're our reverse chat. Yeah. So, which is super fun to be able to see you again, right?
And you never know who's watching and who's listening, and it could be all over the world. It's incredible.
Yeah.
We love it, and we love the connections.
Yep.
We have followers who are from all over the world, and we regularly know them. They will tell us they are going to stay up in Europe in order to watch our podcast because they know it's live.
Yeah. And I'm like, go to sleep. Like, you're not missing anything. It's just us.
Tomorrow, but they want to be there for the chat. We let our chat.
Right.
The one-on-one.
Yeah. And it's that community. There really is this community of fans and Instagrammers and podcasters, and everybody's supporting everybody, and it's just become this really lovely place to sit. Yeah.
It's the community piece, whether it be a fan, the fan, or those involved in the production. It's very unique in its space, and it's to be actually in person with a lot of those people was very uplifting. Actually, these people are engaging and they really fill up by being with the fans or with each other. And it was fun. It was very fun to watch. And we feel that when we're talking to them on our podcast, we enjoy the connection, and we enjoy seeing those who are following along also enjoy the connection. One of the feedback we get, and it's our goal in our podcast, is they feel like they're at the table with us having the conversation.
Right.
So we enjoy bringing everyone to the table. We like that that feeling like our friends are there too.
Instant gratification.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
And
it's-
also, just feeling that, appreciating the fact that we were able to help somebody feel like they're with friends, right? Like that we're all just hanging out and having a conversation. It's not formal. I think that was like the greatest compliment we've ever received from anybody. There was one podcast we had and we went off air, and the woman we were interviewing just kind of said like, wow, like I felt like I was talking to girlfriends and I really needed the girl time. Like I didn't realize how much I needed it. And we didn't know we were giving that to her. But again, it comes back to community, bringing people together. She was able to talk to people that watch her movies, through live comments. And I think that brought it together too. So I think now I've lost my train of thought, but yes, I feel like we just want to be friends, right? We just want to enjoy each other's company.
Yeah. And we try to bring a very positive environment. We are sometimes a little sassy, but in a fun way, if that makes sense. And for that actress, she was, you forget about this. She was sitting in a hotel room because she was filming, but she was there by herself. So we did the podcast in the evening and we chatted for a long time. And you forget that sometimes they're pretty isolated when they're filming.
Right. Especially nowadays with like COVID protocols.
Restrictions.
Yeah.
And so that was lovely to have that conversation with her. And one of our goals is always to be a very welcoming environment so that they can just chat. And we tend to do less firing back and forth and let the conversation roll.
Yeah.
We are over prepared for our podcast. Sarah and I both spend a lot of time preparing. As you know, as a journalist, it's your research and your prep that allows you to follow along with the conversation, right? And so we try to be over prepared so we can go wherever our guests might want to go.
Right. And a lot of times we never get through a quarter of our questions that we prepared because we just say the conversation goes exactly. Yeah.
Right. And we love the different direction. Sometimes those stories are some of the most amazing things that we've gotten is when we go a different direction, we get a new story, something they've not told anywhere. Many of the actors have been on many podcasts. And so to get something new from them is often really interesting and fun, right?
Yeah.
Just don't ask the same questions over and over. That's how I get it out of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Go a different route. Go something, find something that,
exactly.
Yeah. One of them was just saying that my husband always yells out his name when he's watching Big Bang Theory because this one actor randomly is in Big Bang Theory one time, follows Penny across the hallway, and my husband always yells it out, and it got us the most amazing story from Andrew Walker. So about Big Bang Theory. So
right. And we definitely didn't have that on the list.
Not on the list.
Yeah.
Not on the list. So sometimes we just don't really know what's going to bring it, but we're very open to the conversation, and I think they feel that, and so they know they can just say whatever they want to say.
Yeah, spontaneity keeps you on your toes. It's so great.
We love it.
Yeah, and you touched upon this before, but how is Roma drama in West Palm Beach for you ladies?
Amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, talking about community, what Gabrielle and Sarah have developed with Rama Drama is exactly that. It's this community, and you're there not just to meet the stars. Like that's like the icing. I mean, some people certainly are going for that specific reason, or else it wouldn't exist. But I think surrounding that, you have this community of people that have met on, Instagram and in their Facebook groups, and then you go and it's like you're meeting all your friends for the first time. So in addition to being able to meet your favorite, rom-com star, you've got this community that's surrounding that. And then, the actors are a part of that community too. Right. So they've made connections with people that support them and follow them. And, it was like a big family fest or something.
The connections was the most amazing thing to watch actually even unfold in front of you.
Right. Yeah.
To see people that were connected on social media get to meet in person, whether it was fans meeting fans, old friends who have never seen each other meet. We have a variety of connections. So I just felt like we were like going all weekend long. Because of the podcast, we had quite a few connections already with a lot of the talent. We are part of the podcast community, and we're part of one of the main stage events. And so we're connected with all those podcasters. We hosted an event with two of the actresses that we've had both of them on our podcast before. And that was so much fun to actually host something, whole different connection that way.
Which one did you host again? Which one did you host?
So we hosted the bridal shower.
That's what it was.
Brittany
Yeah. That's what I
Bristow
thought.
and Jacqueline Collier.
Yeah, with their fiancés, Brittany Bristow's fiance Dustin and
Dustin,
Jacqueline
yeah.
Collier's fiance Alex, and they came ready to have fun too. It just that made the whole event so much fun, and it was just really a big success. It was the first small event at Rama Drama, so we didn't get to see anything in that smaller space, but we were once again over prepared and had we planned interactive things for people, and it just we started off on a high, and it made for a great event. So being part of Rama Drama gave us a different connection. And then social media, because we run also fan pages, we were able to connect with a lot of other people who run fan pages, a lot of those people. So we have different things there, and then people in our groups. So we run McGarry's stuff. We got to be with a whole bunch of those. So our connections came on so many different levels.
You know what? You're right, Julie. Yep.
Right.
It's like it was like all these
very layered.
Yes.
It's like a food pyramid.
It's also something that makes us a little unique.
Food web.
Yeah. It's like a little web. Yep.
It was. And it was fun
some
to
of
make
these
those
people
connections.
have been following us since the beginning, and they're some of the people that would reach out and say, like, start a podcast or do this. And we're like, my first comment is always like, a podcast? I hate my voice. Like, I don't want to start a podcast. But I'm so happy that they encouraged us to do this. So seeing some of those people was just like such a beautiful, heartwarming moment for us. Yeah.
And those people have walked alongside us the whole way. And so we've had just great support. And like many in this community, although we run a fan page, they're fans of the community. They're fans of all the pieces. So it doesn't seem unusual at all. We actually also belong to almost everybody else's fan page, right? And we talk with those administrators. It's fun to talk with those administrators too, and really connect with them. And we got to do that also at Rama Drama. So it was just that was an amazing event.
Was there any actor that you interviewed or met that you were surprised that you haven't met before, that in a positive way, that left a good impression?
Well, I'm going to start with Trevor Donovan. We hadn't met him before, and he does a lot of TikTok and stuff, and we were doing those short interviews in there, and he just came in ready with like a plan and made a fun entrance into the, our little, literally had my phone on a stand, and he just really brought it for that little interview. It was fun to get to connect with him. We hadn't been able to do that at all before. Who else do you have?
I would also say maybe we had a really brief but fun conversation with Tyler Hines, who I had gotten my picture taken with him before, but we hadn't really ever talked, and he hasn't come on the podcast yet. So it was fun, and he's so busy, right? We didn't get to do our little interview with him that we had planned because the man is just, everybody is there to see Tyler, right? So watching him,
Tyler Hines brings a whole different thing, right?
Right. I mean, we could do a whole conversation on just watching Tyler with his fans, because that to me was like just really lovely to watch. And then to actually then get to have a conversation. You're watching this man be so kind and so generous to all these fans. And then we're walking around talking to people, and they're telling us stories that are making us cry about like their connection with Tyler. So getting to meet him in real life and just being able to see it's how genuine he is. I think that was a lot of fun for us.
And such a great conversation into the phone about how he's going to come on the podcast and he'll come chat. It was just very engaging. I'm going to throw really everyone we got to talk to.
I know. It's so hard to say.
Yeah, Erin Cahill. She is so. She is just that like immediate like heart connect when you talk to her.
I didn't even know she was a pink Power Ranger. I did not know that.
Right, oh yeah, Pink Power Ranger, super.
Pink Power
like,
Ranger. Yeah.
That puts you in a whole different class when you're the Pink Power Ranger, right? She, but her like, just to talk to her, she is just incredibly engaging.
She's very present, and she's looking just straight at you and talking just to you. Like, it was really, I didn't know what to expect. I mean, I've been a fan of hers for a long time, but we had never had any kind of connection before. So just like Julie said, she's really present and just, what's the word?
So engaging. She's so engaging. Yeah. She's right there with it. And like, we had some fun things going, like as we mix our things, Kevin McGarry wasn't there, so I'd been posting "Where's Kevin" into our Insta stories and had been dropping in like a "Where's Waldo," Kevin with the "Where's Waldo" hat.
Yeah, I remember.
Yeah, she totally set up a shot with her, so we could drop in "Where's Kevin" into the shot. So it's just very engaging and fun. Right. And for us as podcasters, it was really nice to make connections with people we hadn't chatted with yet.
Yeah.
So that when it's like, okay, when I have my next project out, reach out. And to have already made those connections makes us really look forward to having them on the podcast.
Who's your dream to someday? Who's your dream actor to someday get on your podcast?
Oh,
I mean, for us, it was, easily Kevin McGarry.
It was, yeah. And now he's come on a bunch of times.
Anybody you'd love to have that you haven't had a chance to have or met?
I think we're just so open to everybody because every time we bring somebody on, we feel like it's a surprise connection.
Yes.
Sometimes it's the people we don't actually know very well that ends up being some of our favorite podcasts. I mean, I think for me, a dream, if you're talking about an actor, it might actually be Lacey, just to hear her story. And she doesn't really do many. Lacey Chabert. She doesn't do many.
I think I'm gonna go with Lacey too. Yeah. If we're staying in this little
Hallmark realm.
Yeah. That would probably be it. She doesn't do much in the way of podcasts at all. No. And so
she's never had me, so that's a volume.
And she has a different background. She, has a different following. She has a very large body of work and has covered since she was young. And so what's your favorite Lacey thing she's ever done? I'm going to say my favorite thing is the Wild Thornberrys, which is why I want to have her on. It's like,
I don't think I've seen that.
The Wild Thornberrys is a cartoon, and it was a huge kids cartoon for years. And it's educational, and it's smart, and it's sassy, and it's funny. And Flea from the Red Hot Chili Peppers is one of the voices. And the voices.
Is it something your kids watch? So I wasn't watching cartoons.
Yep, for the wrong age. Okay. So the Wild Thornberrys had the most amazing actors as voice actors on there. Like crazy amazing. So I would say that would be my dream, but mostly she just doesn't really do them. And her body of work is huge. And so I feel like the stories are there.
I've only seen her in the Wedding Veil, and that was it, I think.
Okay, she's been in a
Wait, you've never watched like Mean Girls?
Mean Girls?
Oh, she was in that?
Oh yeah.
She's Gretchen.
That was forever ago. But I remember Rachel McAdams and Jonathan and Lindsay.
That's so fetch. Whatever. On Wednesdays we wear pink.
I actually just rewatched that again, so I'd have to say that's my favorite because it's so iconic.
Right.
Yeah.
So she's got a huge background, which is probably why she doesn't do podcasts.
Yeah.
So she does like the Kelly Clarkson.
Never say never though. You never know.
And, I know. Kelly Clarkson, Suspenders Unbuttoned.
It is a little true. You never know.
Yeah.
We ask. So I would say that's also one of our things is we are unafraid. Sarah is unafraid to ask or email
The worst you can
anybody.
hear is no, and
Right?
better, yeah.
No. And we don't care.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's like not now or maybe in the future, right?
Yeah, reach out again or something like that.
It's all
Yep.
about timing and luck. Timing and luck.
Yeah.
That's all it is in this industry.
Right. We've had the opportunity to do a couple of unique things around Kevin and Kayla's movies where we've had huge numbers of people involved in the movies come through before their two movies. And that was a whole different perspective. We did a live with them before Feeling Butterflies. So we still keep Instagram Live as part of our piece, which is a little unique.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So it's always part of our pieces is that, so that's a little unique too. So I think it puts us in a maybe a little slightly different place than a lot of other podcasters.
Right. I think you're right. And I think the fact that we're live brings something new for the actors too. A lot of times we'll offer the choice. We can record it. And I think only one actor has ever come back and said they would prefer to record it. And that's it. So we go live, and I think it kind of is like fun. There's no turning back.
Yep.
Whatever happens. I mean, I've had like my lights go out, my computer, like you just never know.
Right.
The phone. I did one from work, and I was literally propped up on toys from Child Life, and my phone tipped, because the LOL surprise boxes, tipped over. We've kind of done it all. So, electricity or your computer died. Talking to Kayla,
my fuse blew or something because I have so many extension cords. And I had to come back on my phone. Yeah.
A lot of the actors have sketchy connections when they're in hotels or wherever they're at.
Always. Or on
Right.
their
And
phones
so
to get it.
we're always like, just come on back. Or, Wes
that
was in
happens a
his
lot.
basement. He got booted out of his office by his daughter or his wife, whatever. Then he lost connection. We're always like, if you lose connection, just come back
Just
in.
come
Catherine,
back. Yep.
Catherine will bring you back in, right? So we have Catherine, who works as our podcast engineer, and she can just get them back in. But out of hotels, we've had a few disconnections. Kevin was refilming a scene for My Grown Up Christmas List. First time we had him on for Feeling Butterflies, and was in a hotel room, and the Wi-Fi was pretty sketchy. And I think he came back like 3 times. So
at least, yeah.
You just roll with it. It makes it a little more fun.
Nice.
A little unbuttoned.
I always think of firefighters like Suspenders Unbuttoned.
Oh, that's funny. I never thought that.
Because they wear suspenders, so I'm like, okay, Suspenders Unbuttoned.
Yeah, and it's very much a look, right, it's very much a look. Kevin McGarry plays Nathan Grant on Wind Calls the Heart, but and since Suspenders Unbuttoned, and then conveniently in My Grown Up Christmas List, all of a sudden Santa's also unbuttoned and in suspenders. So we were laughing.
It's working for us. We've considered changing our name in the past, but we're too deep in, right? We're just gonna roll with it.
The fans know it, so yeah.
Yeah,
right.
I think we stand out a little bit because our name is so different. So maybe sometimes it works in our favor, and then sometimes it doesn't, because people are like, "What is this? Do I want to go on this podcast?" Like, weird. Yeah.
At first, I think it was a little like people didn't know, but then as we've built up our podcast, I think so many have the word Hallmark in them. They don't know which one they are. There's no not knowing which. There's not another Suspenders Unbuttoned to get confused. Right. And the unbuttoned conversations is really what we prefer. We allow those conversations to go. Yeah.
And what would you like to tell our readers about Suspenders Unbuttoned? What's the one thing you wanted to get out of it?
I think that We love, really, Suspenders Unbuttoned is about conversations and what that person who's on really is about.
Mm.
Mhm. Who they are, who they are at, whether it's an actor or a director or costuming or the driver or who they are.
Yeah.
That's really who we are. We want to know who they are. How about you, Markos? How did you get to being a reporter like this and deep into the entertainment industry?
I started my college newspaper 16 years ago, and then one thing led to the other. People were vibing, and they liked what they were reading, and then I interned at a magazine in Staten Island. And
Okay.
then after 3 years, I moved my way up the ladder, and then I branched out on my own in the digital world because that's where it was at.
Yeah.
So it's like
So you were
print was
making
going
those
out of style.
making those connections,
Right.
and then right, yeah,
The
and
publicists
into
go
the
with
digital
you.
world. Yeah.
Yeah.
Once you have the article for them in half an hour to an hour, they have like 2 to 3 lined up for you before the day's
Right.
over.
I know, you're fast.
Also the ability to like link those things. So we, as somebody who run fan sites and a podcast site, we love when we can link to an article like that. And
Right.
we
Google News, Google
regular,
News forever.
yeah,
Yeah.
we love to be able to make that connections for those who are following us and sending them to read your article. We love that connection. And for you, we know that that's a great connection. We've only had one digital article person come and yell at us for putting up their stuff, which I'm like, okay, we'll link to somebody else then.
I know.
Yeah, so I know we love it because we can link
Yeah.
people off to your articles quickly. So
Right. Because again, the connections, right? You want this.
It's cross promotion.
Yes,
Mhm.
exactly. Right. And we're
And
all
that's-
kind of a part of a community. Again, the community.
Right.
We always
It
talk
makes
about our fan page being like, we don't run the Kevin McGarry fan base, like
Nope.
but we have a platform, right? So we love to share everybody else's things. We have original content too, but like it's not about us, it's about everybody else.
Yeah.
And the same goes for our podcast too. Like this is not about us. This is about, I mean, of course we enjoy the connecting too, but we're also letting whoever is on our podcast connect with people, right? So
Right.
I don't know.
Yeah,
I think
when
we
we
like
had
to lift others up.
Yeah. When Gabrielle came on and I kept asking her, when is your date? What kinds of things she goes, can I unabashedly just promote my drama
Please.
here? And we're like,
Yeah.
please, like we want to list off all the details. What can people expect? What are they going to see? When are the dates? How do they buy tickets? Like, where's your website? Like, yes, like that's what we want to do. We want to like be part of that, that community, to lift up what each person's doing. So we do that in our podcast, but in our social media, it's like, we don't want to control that group. We want to be a sounding board for that group.
Yeah.
Bring in
Right.
all your things, right? Right.
And that brings me to my last question. How can people reach you?
Oh, you can find us on Instagram. That's the easiest place. Our podcast is podcast_Suspenders Unbuttoned. And then our fan site is just Suspenders Unbuttoned. We have a link tree in both bios, so you can click there and then everything comes up, our Twitter, Facebook, email, all of the above.
Yep. So we do have Facebook groups, one for the podcast and one for the fan-based group. So all those things are in the link tree and you can find us there. We do just have one Twitter account though, so that's Suspenders Unbuttoned.